May I request all present to kindly rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Honorable Vice President of India, Shri Jagdeep Dhankhar ji, Madam Vice President Dr. Sudesh Dhankhar ji, the learned Attorney General of India, Shri R. Venkatramani ji, Secretary to the Honorable Vice President of India, Shri Sunil Kumar Gupta ji, Vice Chancellor, University of Delhi, Professor Yogesh Singh ji, authors of the book at the center of today's program, Shri Dr. Seema Singh ji and Dr. Raman Mittal ji, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. A very good evening and a warm welcome to today's event. Spirituality and law are integral to the fabric of a nation. The aim of both, in essence, is to establish a just and righteous society. Law and Spirituality, Reconnecting the Bond, compiled by Dr. Seema Singh and Dr. Raman Mittal, explores the link between these two domains from diverse angles and makes a compelling case for fostering a deeper connection between them. We will begin today's event with the presentation of mementos to our distinguished dignitaries on the dais. I request Professor Shri Prakash Singh ji to kindly felicitate the Honorable Vice President of India. I request Professor Seema Singh ji to kindly felicitate Dr. Sudesh Dhankhar ji. I request Shri Sanjay Poddar ji to kindly felicitate the learned Attorney General, Dr. Venkatramani ji. I request Professor Raman Mittal ji to felicitate Secretary to the Honorable Vice President, Shri Sunil Kumar Gupta ji. I request Shri Prashant Jain ji to kindly felicitate the Vice Chancellor, University of Delhi, Professor Yogesh Singh ji. I now invite Dr. Seema Singh, esteemed author of the book, to deliver the welcome address. नमस्कार। नवरात्रि के इस पावन पर्व पर मैं नौ दुर्गा के समस्त रूपों का सादर प्रणाम करते हुए यहाँ उनकी उपस्थिति का आह्वान करती हूँ। सर्वप्रथम मैं स्वागत करती हूँ हमारे माननीय उपराष्ट्रपति श्री जगदीप धनखड़ जी और उनकी धर्म पत्नी डॉक्टर श्रीमती सुदेश धनखड़ जी का, जिन्होंने अपनी व्यस्ततम दिनचर्या से समय निकालकर हमें और हमारी पुस्तक को अपना आशीर्वाद देना स्वीकार किया। धन्यवाद सर। साथ ही मैं स्वागत करती हूँ हमारे अभिभावक और अटॉर्नी जनरल फॉर इंडिया आदरणीय श्री आर वेंकटरमणी जी का, जिनका आशीर्वाद और मार्गदर्शन मुझे सदैव प्राप्त होता रहा है। धन्यवाद सर। मैं स्वागत करती हूँ मंचासीन श्री सुनील कुमार गुप्ता जी का, सचिव माननीय उपराष्ट्रपति जी, जिनके सहयोग के बिना इस कार्यक्रम को करना संभव नहीं था। साथ ही मैं स्वागत करती हूँ हमारे आदरणीय कुलपति प्रोफेसर योगेश सिंह जी का, जिनकी ऊर्जा, संरक्षण और आशीर्वाद मुझे सदैव प्रेरित करता रहा है। यहाँ पर मैं एक ऐसी विभूति का भी स्मरण करती हूँ और उन्हें प्रणाम करती हूँ जो अभी यहाँ उपस्थित नहीं है, परंतु जिनके मार्गदर्शन, आशीर्वाद और प्रेरणा से ही यह सब संभव हो पाया है। अंत में मैं इस सभागार में उपस्थित समस्त गणमान्य व्यक्तियों का हृदय से स्वागत करती हूँ और आप सभी के प्रति अपनी कृतज्ञता और आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ। इस आशा के साथ कि लॉ और स्पिरिचुअलिटी के गहरे अर्थ को जोड़ने का हमारा ये प्रयास, जो लॉ एंड स्पिरिचुअलिटी रिकनेक्टिंग द बॉन्ड की पुस्तक के रूप में सामने आया है, आप सभी को पसंद आएगा। एक बार पुनः मैं अभी आप सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत और हार्दिक अभिनंदन करती हूँ। धन्यवाद। I now request the Honorable Vice President of India, Shri Jagdeep Dhankhar ji, to kindly release the book Law and Spirituality, Reconnecting the Bond. Thank you, sir. I now invite Professor Yogesh Singh ji, Vice Chancellor, University of Delhi, to share his insights.
Good afternoon. Honorable Shri Jagdeep Dhankhar sir, Vice President of India and Chancellor of University of Delhi, Madam Sudesh Dhankar ji, Shri R. Venkatramani ji, Attorney General of India, Shri Sunil Kumar Gupta ji, Secretary, Vice President Office, Professor Raman Mittal, Faculty of Law, Dr. Seema Singh, Shri Prashant Jain ji, distinguished academicians, outstanding advocates, and invited guests, good afternoon to all of you. As I am told कि इस जगह ये पहला फंक्शन है, तो मैं वाइस प्रेसिडेंट सर को कहूंगा कि ये जगह भी आपको शुभ हो और घर भी शुभ हो, बहुत शुभ हो। On behalf of University of Delhi, I would like to congratulate authors for editing such a book on very important topic, law and spirituality, reconnecting the bond. In this 21st century of progress, prosperity and economic growth, law and spirituality are very, very important, because law and spirituality help us for national character development. They also help us to understand do and don'ts of life. Human life, we can't think of human life without values and virtues. We also should not think about laws without values and virtues, because both become very dangerous. And Bhagwan Krishna has said in Gita and talked about karma yogi. भगवान ने कहा योग कर्मसु कौशलम, योग केवल कर्म में कुशलता ही योग है। आप जो काम करते हैं वो अच्छे से करते हैं तो वही योग है। ये लॉ है बेसिकली। भगवान ने कहा है तो सही तो है, भगवान गलत कहते भी नहीं है। तो ये लॉ है। तो योग केवल ध्यान और आसन नहीं है। योग केवल मन, कर्म, शरीर, आत्मा और भावना का संतुलन और सामंजस्य बिठाने का काम भी नहीं है। अपने काम को कुशलता से करना योग है। दिस इज लॉ एंड स्पिरिचुअलिटी। लॉ इज टू रेगुलेट सोसाइटी. Law is to regulate everyone. Spiritual mind follows and respects law. Spirituality, values and virtues, dharma, sanskar are not in academic discourse, discussions and curriculums. Now time has come to think and rethink. And national education policy attempts to highlight the importance of good human beings. सबको अच्छे लोग चाहिए, बनाने पे कोई काम नहीं करता तो लोग कहां से आएंगे? This is just not possible. So spirituality should be part of academic discourse and should also be in the foundations of academics. This book is a step in that direction and will be very, very useful and meaningful, not only for law students, but also for other students of higher studies. I am thankful and grateful to both the editors and Kitabwala for publishing such a book, relevant and prevalent book in 21st century. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Singh. I now invite Shri R. Venkatramani ji, the learned Attorney General of India, to share his thoughts with the Assembly.
When you are in the presence of a noble soul like the Honorable Vice President, many things fall in place. I've experienced it a number of occasions. It's not just to praise him on his stage, but then an occasion when you're talking about a book like this, and the invitation came to me to write. I told Professor Seema Singh, I am asking a question to myself, am I equipped to write on a subject like this? We ask people who have been in the pursuit of truth in the ultimate sense, those who have embedded their whole life in the pursuit of truth, their ability and their comprehension to understand the various hidden and invisible facets of life, not easily known in our daily humdrum engagement with our pursuits, material pursuits. They are competent to talk about it. But for people, I have my very dear friend, Mr. Vaidyanathan, here with me, who in a great service to Indian spiritual, nourishment by working tirelessly in the Ayodhya case. So we all belong to a class of people who have seen life from the narrow end of a telescope. The law has been so far the narrow end of a telescope. So how to ask us to think about law from the other side of the telescope? So I thought that I think we need to have new telescopes. Forget of the old telescopes Galileo was talking about. We need new telescopes about law and all that. We always say that the Indian concept of dharma is so undefinable because it connotes only the ability and the call to every human being to engage in the pursuit of the ultimate value of life, which can make your life valuable, useful, and at the end of the day, when you lay your frame, you know that you have done your task for the Creator. So we need that kind of a transformation of our approach to law. And for long, of course, we have borrowed and have lived with the non-Eastern ideas of law and essentially law as a coercion. That's why books on jurisprudence talk about the command of the sovereign and all that. We forgot that it is not a command of the sovereign, but a command of the inner self, which if it doesn't tune with the values of life and the values of life as understood part of the universe, then the command of the sovereign is just an out of frame, which doesn't mean anything to any one of us, and we live under coercion. So we therefore need to think about moving away from this old non-Eastern understanding of jurisprudence and to bring about a convergence between people. They are ever being in the pursuit of truth and being in right, and the governments also ever being in the pursuit of truth and ever being in right, and also administration of justice. So the convergence of these angles ends up a triangle. As long as it doesn't happen, we'll be talking about law from an entirely different point of view. And reams of books on jurisprudence have been written on how to make this law meaningful and make people comfortable with law. But I don't think that as long as the connect does not really happen, law will always talk about how to make people obey law. So we need to talk about a law where people will not need to obey law, but it becomes part of their life. So law becoming part of life and life informing law, how does it really happen? This is a very good beginning. And I think all the contributors have made very earnest endeavors in putting their thoughts together. And this garland of connections of thoughts in this book, I think needs a great, great appreciation. And I appreciate and congratulate the editors for doing the job. And I'm sure you're going to have a restatement of law publications continuing probably for the rest of your career as a teacher. I wish you do that, and I'm sure today is a great beginning for you to do that. With these very humble words, I deeply appreciate your efforts and thankful to you for inviting me here. And I said the President and Vice President will certainly add the epilogue to this book by his very wise words. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shri Venkatramani ji. I now request the Honorable Vice President of India, Shri Jagdeep Dhankhar ji, to address the distinguished gathering.
Good evening, all of you. This is the first function of this nature in the Vice President Enclave. Things onwards would look up. Shri R. Venkatramani ji, Attorney General of India, Mrs. R. Venkatramani ji, Shri Sunil Kumar Gupta, Secretary to the Vice President of India, Professor Yogesh Singh, Vice Chancellor, Delhi University. I must recognize presence of some of you here. I have known them for long, drawn inspiration in several ways. Senior Advocate Shri C.S. Vaidyanathan ji, Dashanand Gordon, Professor Raman Mitra, Srimati Seema Singh, and very distinguished audience. Things are defined not by statistical presence, they are defined by qualitative and deeply interested presence. I see this audience before me. It is a delightful moment, sharing dais with the distinguished people present here. I was part of releasing the book Law and Spirituality, Reconnecting the Bond by Professor Raman Mitra and Seema Singh. The subject is difficult. The subject is complex. In some sense, the subject is abstract. I have had the good fortune to go through some of the articles penned by people for whom I have enormous respect. I can say without exception that every contributor deserves applause for having engaged in his contribution with heart and soul in the article. And therefore, a matter of joy and privilege to be with you all on this great occasion. The book title, Law and Spirituality, Reconnecting the Bond, says it all. Bharat home to 1/6 of humanity, is a spiritual center of the world. This is acknowledged reality. Our 5,000 years civilizational ethos reveal it in every sense. And this was carried to the globe in more meaningful manner in these contemporaneous times by our G20 presidency. The world had the occasion to be exposed to the spirituality of this great nation when at about 60 locations G20 functions were held in every state and union territory of this country. And the main functions, Bharat Mandapam, G20 main function, and GP, P20 at Yashobhumi. In such a situation, it is time for us to reflect how we sustain our age-old legacy. It's a legacy hard-earned through several mechanisms. I had the good fortune to find out from honorable members of parliament as to how many of us have physically seen our Vedas, our Upanishads, our Puranas. We talk about them day in and day out. But have we really got into the depth of it? And I therefore made a suggestion to the honorable minister to make available to every parliamentarian Vedas. Trust me, having Vedas by your bedside will do a lot good to humanity, because the human being that will touch the Vedas will speak out of his soul, not out of his mind and heart. When you speak out of mind, you are dominated by rationality. When you speak out of heart, you are dominated by emotive aspect also. But when there is soul convergence, things are very different. Friends, Bharat, with civilizational depth of 5,000 years, has continually disseminated the message of Dharma and to the entire world and spiritualism through its timeless scriptures, philosophical treatises, and cultural practices. If you look the same in historical perspective, you will find no other civilization or country coming close to us. Law, if I look at what it means, it broadly indicates a regime that defines what people may do or people may not do. Adherence to rule of law is nectar of democracy. There have been regimes where adherence to rule of law has been far more effective and forcible than democracy. But essence of democracy, nectar of democracy lies because the rule of law is deeply embedded with the concept of equality before law. A democracy would have no meaning at all if there is not equality before law. I have seen, as you all must have seen, a transformative change in last few years that has strengthened the concept of equality before law, ensuring all are subject to law. None is above law. Everyone is amenable to law, accountable to law. You cannot get away from law. There was a time when some thought they were beyond the reach of law. If in a society someone can get away by benefiting after engaging in transgression of law, he is a sole beneficiary, but the entire society suffers. In a democracy, we get that jump of the heartbeat, that excruciating pain, that how come someone is more entitled than I am? Because that is equality before law. That change we have seen. One direct outcome of equality before law is that iniquities are contained. No one will have grievance if all are treated equal. Grievance emanates when we engage in favoritism. We believe in a mechanism that is antithetical to merit, that kind of mechanism. Therefore, rule of law is fundamental to democratic rights, flourishing of humanity, and I would say survival of democracy. Friends, it is soothing to note, and we feel it day in and day out, that privileged pedigree has been compulsively made to be accountable to rule of law. We are seeing it. There is bound to be resistance to it. Because when people are used to be treated very differently, when they are assured by upbringing or otherwise that they have some kind of immunity from law, they are away from external law, and when they find rule of law coming so close to them, making them accountable in a normal process, we must all remember fundamentally that when law takes its course, it is duty of the society to ensure that we take recourse to legal remedies. Unfortunately, when legal process is set in motion, I do not understand why people should take to streets. Because a fundamental of democracy against which rule of law is its fair administration. And the fair administration emanates from robust judicial system. We can pride in our judiciary, how quickly it responds to citizen-centric issues. No country can claim that kind of robust judicial mechanism as we have in this country. Fast, expeditious, and fearless. Look at any period of time, every month, you will find there will be judgments. They may not be palatable to one or the other. They may not be palatable to the category that is in power. But the judgments are coming. And therefore, when you have such an ecosystem, wholesome ecosystem, where redressal mechanism is so effective, independent, we must not take to streets. But this big change that has come in last few years has made our democracy more vibrant. It has become growth-oriented. There is recognition all over the world. And this has generated an upbeat mood in the nation, in our impressionable young minds. They are now filled with hope and possibility environment. That is law. Spirituality, the another facet, which appears to begin with very abstract. If you scratch the surface, you will not be able to grapple with spirituality. I had the good fortune to attend a global spiritual conference at Hyderabad. And I was amazed. Scholars came from all over the world. And they made Mr. Kamlesh Patel global ambassador in this direction. The honor was conferred by Secretary General of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The 3-day conference was an eye-opener, enlightening, making people aware that yes, this country is not only a democratic nation, is structured at all levels, from village to the state to the center, but also a spiritual land. Spiritual connotes a deep feeling, belief that self is subservient to being human. In our reckless urge, in pursuit of materialism, we forget concern of others. We engage in reckless exploitation of natural resources. We use natural resources because we have fiduciary capacity to do it. We are not trustees of natural resources when we act that way, but we are trustees. And therefore I would say that if you think beyond yourself, you think about everyone else, you think about living beings on the planet, you are spiritual in thought and action. Spirituality reflects deep, sublime concern for others and welfare of all. And that has been our civilizational ethos. Our G20 presidency motto, one earth, one family, one future, as a matter of fact, is a sense of spiritualism. Spirituality guides us to discover that our lives are significant, our lives are relevant beyond ordinary existence, personal concerns and selfishness. Most of us are tied by these vices. We learn too late, after having negotiated precious time, that we need to be in the other mode. Spirituality will instill in us happiness for all, growth of all, concern of all. Friends, the combination of law and spirituality, the theme of the book, Reconnecting the Bond, is thus a concept that can take us towards utopian governance, global peace and harmony. A combination of the two would unfold a legal regime, a way of life, a method of living and governance that would be non-invasive and wholesome for humanity. The effort by Professor Raman Mitra and Professor Seema Singh in bringing out this book, Law and Spirituality, Reconnecting the Bond, is indeed commendable. The contributors have been drawn from various facets of human activity. I would say virtually in every aspect of human activity, from governance and constitutionalism, from law and justice, from spirituality and ethics, and the like. The book traverses critical aspects in relation to the theme, law and spirituality, covering the domain of justice, legal values, feminism, and criminology. After having read parts of some of the articles, I can tell you it's a treasure. You will be exposed to the erudition and expertise, knowledge of the author that has been well crafted in minimum words. The book deserves, friends, to be on your bedside and bedside of everyone, as going through it would be enriching experience and would lead to enlightenment of the individual, inspiring and motivating the reader to be in pursuit of service for humanity. I congratulate the editors, the contributors for this excellent effort and for effecting convergence of knowledge and talent of people from varied areas of human activity. Friends, I could have said more, but after having gone through some of the articles and parts of some of the articles, I beseech every one of you, keep the book by your bedside. Make it a habit to go through it. Once you will go through it, trust me, there will be seamless gliding through the entire book at one point of time or the other, and you will benefit enormously. I am grateful to the audience for being patient, for the time I have taken. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights and your words of wisdom. May I request all present to kindly rise for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे